You don't have a discipline problem, you probably have a capacity problem. I just read an article and it really explained to me why a lot of us know what to do, have planned for what to do, have mood boards, have all these TikToks of motivation saved, and still cannot actually do what needs to be done. And it is also why a lot of the motivation that we see online just simply doesn't work, because it's shame based, and it's not shame that we need, it's increasing our capacity that we need. So let me share my notes with you, especially as a psych nurse. I found this very, very relevant and very, very true. So let's break it down. What's a capacity issue, right? So your brain, it needs focus, it needs emotional regulation, it needs stability in order to initiate and follow through with your actions, right? So what happens is we have overwhelm, we have stress, and we have burnout, and these directly affect capacity. And this is not about willpower. This is literally about neurobiology. We could break it down another day, but I want to keep it simple for us, right? So when you are stressed, you're not affecting your willpower, you're affecting your neurobiology. When you are burnt out, when you're chronically stressed, these things are literally affecting the way your brain works, right? They affect like your brain's activation system, they affect your prefrontal cortex, they affect your brain, right? So what most people do is when they lack capacity, instead of trying to strengthen that capacity, they resort to shame, right? And so they shame themselves. And you can see it when like we find motivational videos like you don't want it bad enough, or you've been saying that you're gonna go to the gym for a year now and you still haven't done it, and now you know. And that's the tone. That's really what I hear and what I see when I like see any video like that, right? Shame. We resort to shame. And it's not even like people do this because they want to be bullies. It's literally people think that they can shame themselves into discipline and into action, right? But what happens is shame is not motivating, right? And somebody's going to argue in the comments and say, well, shame is the only thing that motivates me. Good for you. But literally, shame does not motivate the brain. It actually overwhelms it. Psychologically, shame makes you feel like something is wrong with you, not your behavior. And the thing is, when you think something is wrong with you, you're actually affecting something called mentalization. Mentalization? I'm going to put it on the screen. And basically what that is your ability to understand yourself clearly and to receive support from others. So what shame does is it stresses you more, it narrows your thinking, and it reduces your mentalization. It reduces your ability to understand yourself and receive support. All of these don't sound like they're helping your capacity, right? So it starts a loop. You want to know what the loop is? It's depressing. The loop is task not done, introduce increased shame, lower capacity. And what happens? Lower capacity, task still not done. More shame, less capacity. You want to continue the loop? Task, guess what? Still not done. That's how you, for a year, have talked about going to the gym and still cannot do it. Or for a year, you've talked about starting the thing and, you know, whatever it is that you've talked about. I know what I've been talking about, but task not done, more shame, less capacity. Okay, so what do we do with this knowledge? As I was reading the article, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're telling me a lot. What do I do now, right? You don't need more shame. You don't even need more motivation, which sounds controversial to say, but you need to rebuild capacity. The funny thing in rebuilding capacity, research literally shows, this is not me speaking, this is research. Research literally shows that those who can effectively reassure themselves are more resilient. What does resilience help? Capacity. It actually also helps discipline, but that's another thing. All right, so how do we rebuild capacity? You're not gonna like this. Sleep. Have you ever noticed how you'll have one night of good sleep and suddenly you're productive? Our body needs sleep. Like, I think we play too much with what our brain needs, and then we try to function with a brain that can't function, right? Start small. The thing about starting small is you think it's like a little cliche saying that's supposed to make you feel better or baby you. No. Small wins are like, they're almost like a hack, right? Because you can do a small thing and you can get a hit of dopamine, right? And that hit of dopamine, what? Inspires you to continue. And so what you're doing is, rather than trying to do one big thing and get a dopamine rush out of that one big thing that's so hard, you tackle a bunch of small things, you get the hits, and then you use that momentum to keep you going, right? Does that make sense? Prioritize, okay? A lot of us are trying to attack 8 different areas of our lives. Probably all 8 are important, and most likely if you work on the 3 most important ones, the other ones will like bleed into effect, right? Next thing, eat. Energy literally is supposed to be derived in part from our food, okay? And that's a whole nother topic, but let's just shorten it to eat. self-talk. What did I say? People that are able to reassure themselves are more resilient. That literally means that you have to be aggressive with your self-talk. Anytime you're finding yourself in this like shame spiral, or anytime that you're finding yourself bullying yourself, a lot of us are so focused on cutting everybody off. A lot of us are focused on the enemies abroad. The enemy within is the one that you actually need to tackle, because that's the one that you spend every single day with. That negative self-talk needs to be nip it in the butt, okay? So what is the takeaway? Well, for one, I can tell you as a psych nurse that sees people trying to shame themselves out of bad actions every single day, it doesn't work. Shame-based motivation may have one success, one battle, but in the long run, it doesn't work. And I want you to think every single day as you're doing everything that you're doing, and you have these goals and you have these aspirations, think to yourself, what did I do today to increase my capacity? Because often, more times than not, we are actively decreasing our capacity and hoping to accomplish these things with discipline, but the foundation isn't there. Okay, so yeah, that was an exciting article for me. I learned so much, and I thought, like, let's share it. Okay, my lunch is over. Bye.